Welcome, everybody, to Strangest Species Season 2, Episode 34. I'm your host, Mike Davis, here with the impeccable Ethne Davis.
Impeccable. It's quite the word.
I know.
Well, hello.
Well, hello.
Impeccable. I like it.
I thought it was a good change of pace.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
I was thinking of something a little different.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking like lucky because it's St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, Lucky's good, too.
Yeah.
Are you Irish at all?
I mean, I don't know. McAllister, I think, is like Scottish, so I have that kind of going for me, but that's about all. My name is Gaelic.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I am.
Right. I know I do have some Irish blood, but it's not enough to be Irish.
Well, I'm sure I'm the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Kind of a giant mutt, you know?
We drove home from Canada today. Oof. So we didn't do much of anything for St. Patrick's Day.
Well, we did have a leprechaun leave us a bunch of gold coins.
Chocolate and... Normal.
And also didn't get caught in the traps.
Did not get caught. We had two boys attempt to build traps for said leprechaun. Mm-hmm. And they did not work.
Although the effort that they put in...
it was a little minimal this year.
Yes, it was kind of halfway. Then they stopped that project and started a new project, and then stopped that one. And if they would have just stuck with one project, they would have been able to carry it through to completion. And
we'd have a leprechaun in a jar right now.
Totally, yeah.
But they failed miserably.
I saw a funny meme today. It said something like, "Leprechauns are just Santa's elves that have been fired, I think, for drinking on the job," or something like that, which I thought was pretty funny because
sounds very appropriate.
Yeah, they're very mischievous and they're little. And I mean, on St. Patrick's Day, it's all about green beer. So, I mean, it just made sense. Yeah. I liked it.
You have a green Shamrock Rolling Stone shirt on right now.
Of course I do. I don't want to be pinched.
I think I pinched you anyways.
Yeah, well, you broke the rules.
But I couldn't see your shirt because it was under a hoodie.
That's true. But you should ask first before you just pinch.
Well, then you might tell me you have green on.
Yeah, I would have told you I have
I don't want to know that.
Oh, you want to assume.
I just want to pinch.
Yeah. Well, assuming makes an ass out of you and me.
Well, it makes you get pinched.
But did you see how I did that?
Oh, I've been around long enough to hear that many times in my life. Yes. Lincoln's going to love that one.
So, the drive home today was something else.
Yeah. So we've been up in Canada for the last 4 days. We decided to go up for a quick little road trip.
For the moment to visit family.
We had a couple nephews playing in basketball tournaments. And the weather's been so nice here. We just felt like
itching for a road trip.
Yeah, it felt like road trip weather.
Seeing some family. And we got our fix. We for surely did. We packed in a lot of stuff and it was fun.
Now we don't want to do road trips or see family anymore.
Well, no. That's wrong. But
I'm just kidding.
I mean, I kid you not when I say we had it all. Just all these little nuances and inconveniences that, like stopping somewhere for lunch just to find that the store was under renovation. So then you had to stop in the next town, and then trying to get certain items to bring back for snacks and realizing you can't, or they're not at that store. So then you have to go to the other store. Or detours, or animals on the road, or
try to get a Diet Coke 3 times.
A really slow multitude of really slow semi-trucks, which we cannot figure out because the speed limit's like 60 miles and they're going like 35. But there's not in this particular area, there's not like inclement weather. We did have that. We had super slushy, lots of rain, bad visibility. Like when you're trying to pass, they're spraying you constantly.
A little icy.
Well, and like the slush on the road, when I say slush, is like snow that's trying to melt, but it's thick enough to pull your wheel. We had rain.
We had a detour.
Snow. We had a detour. I mean,
the border crossing normally takes maybe 15 minutes. It was about an hour today.
Yeah.
And we even cut in line.
We didn't try to cut in line, but usually there's a semi-truck lane and a normal car lane. And this time they only had the semi-truck lane open. But we thought as soon as we rounded this one corner, I mean, we were back a mile, literally a mile to get through the border, which
is unheard of at this crossing.
I've never even heard of this like in the middle of summer on like a holiday weekend. We ran into besides major obstacles like a flat tire and a broken down car, every possible. I mean, it took us forever.
Yeah, it took us. I don't know
at
how
the border
long.
for an hour. I mean,
But it took us a long time to get
50,
home.
55. Oh, I didn't even count it. I was so glad to be here. I don't even know from start to finish when we left. But the kids did really good. So anyway, and the way up was exact opposite. Like not a car in sight.
We ran into a pack of mountain goats.
Mm-hmm.
We ran into
Crossing
deer.
the
We
road.
ran into a moose. I mean, not literally ran into, but had to stop.
They were all on the side of the
Well,
road.
the moose was on the way up. But we did deer and a whole herd of
mountain goats.
Yeah.
Well, there was also deer on the way up too.
There
like
were,
literally,
yes.
when we say this, we mean crossing the road, like where you have to stop for them. The moose is the only one we didn't have to stop for. It was on the other side of the roadblock thing, and so it wasn't actually.
But
crossing.
you were right there, like.
But it
don't
was like
jump
at
over,
any
dude.
moment if you jump over. So it was a pretty adventurous drive home.
Yeah,
But we made it.
and the weather can be a million times worse this time of year.
Oh, 100%. So we'll,
Going through the Canadian Rockies in March
It's-
can be quite treacherous.
yeah, and there were snowplows and stuff trying.
Well, you could tell we passed probably 6 cars that were flipped over and off the side of the road. So, a day or two before there had been more snow, apparently. Because none of those cars were there when we went up on Thursday.
Nope. So anyway, Mike's also had a cough for like 10 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I probably got some kind of respiratory virus.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, not me, that's for sure.
Yeah. But that's why he sounds so cool.
Sounds like someone else is hosting this podcast this week.
It sure does.
But it's me still.
So that was but we did get all the things we needed. We got to eat all of our fun Canadian food and go to Canada. I mean, go to IKEA. Of course, we're in Canada. Go to IKEA.
Our kids thought IKEA, so our younger two had never been, or at least not that they could remember.
Right.
And they thought it was just a blast. Like, oh, this is my bedroom.
Yeah, they had so much fun. It was really
Going
fun.
through all the displays. And
We got to see basketball games and go swimming at an indoor water park. And it was good. We packed a lot of stuff in and we played games.
Yeah, it was
Went
good.
out for dinner as adults, which was super
That's the first time we've ever done that with your family.
Yeah, because all of the kids are so little.
Yeah.
So we had a good time. Packed it in.
Yeah, it was good.
Yep.
And the weather was cold, but it was not wet and snowy and
Right.
windy. And
It
was
wasn't
just
as
cold.
bad as it could have been. I got my lashes done by my sister. She's so good at that.
That is true.
Shout out to Lashes by Shelby.
Is that her business name?
Think so. Or Lashes by
You're like, I think so.
Lashes by Ray.
I hope so.
Lashes by I don't know. You can find it on Instagram.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, your other sister was doing permanent jewelry.
Yeah,
So she did
Gonna
that for our daughter.
Yep, she's gonna start her little business here soon. So
Everybody's just got the entrepreneur spirit.
I know. Me too. I'm
What are you going to do?
gonna be an Airbnb-er.
That's true. That is very true. You are.
So working on it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with all that said,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think we're going to talk about today?
I mean, we're of course going to talk about the crazy things that you can magnet fish from the water.
That'd be interesting. If you don't know what magnet fishing is, it doesn't involve fish.
Nope, not at all.
You throw a big magnet on a line, like fishing, into a body of water, and you see what kind of metal objects you can pull up.
On the magnet.
Kids love watching people do this on YouTube. And it's amazing some of the stuff some people go to like Amsterdam and they'll pull up like bike after bike after bike after bike.
Yeah.
But most of them are in like these super gross backwatery things. And people
Ew.
pull up guns and safes, and most people are just trying to pull up scrap metal.
To recycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But lots of engine parts, pistons, all sorts of
Is
stuff.
that what we're talking about?
No.
No.
No. But our kids got a magnet fishing kit for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So they are pumped this summer to real fish and fish for metal junk.
Yeah, totally. And I'm ready for them to clean up the water. So there you go.
Yeah. So I'm not going to tell you what we're going to talk about today.
Oh, okay. Weird.
We're going to jump right into a story.
Okay.
And we're just going to let the story flow.
Oh.
And from there, we will talk.
Okay.
So you jump in anytime you want.
I feel like I should read the story so that you don't have to do as much talking.
Well, that would be good, except you don't know the story.
No, I don't.
So that would make it very hard to tell the story.
You don't have it like in your
Like
script?
if I told you the story and then you told everyone back the story, then everyone hear the story twice.
No, I meant like, can't I just read the script?
No.
Okay.
Because the script's more like bullet points.
Oh. Well, I feel bad for you that you have to be talking so much.
That's okay.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right. It's the middle of the night. Winter. Finland. 1939.
Sounds cold.
It is very cold. Yeah. The Soviet Union has invaded Finland.
Okay.
And a middle-aged farmer named Simo Hayha.
That sounds cute.
Yeah. Has crept alone deep into enemy territory. Now, Simo is Finnish.
Okay.
So the Soviets have occupied some of the border lands into Finland. So he's creeping into...
Just wondering, do you spell Finnish like the word Finnish?
I believe it has two N's.
Okay.
So when he's creeping into Soviet territory, he's still in Finland. So it's occupied Soviet territory. He's not into...
What would be the purpose of creeping into enemy territory alone?
We're
like-
going to get there.
I feel as though I would creep into like my cellar, or I would creep into like a tunnel that I was digging. I would not like willingly just creep over to enemy territory.
Especially if you're like a farmer, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, he might have a good shot.
You might.
But even then, he's just
He's
one
like,
person.
I've got potatoes stored over here.
I have a potato gun.
Need my potatoes. So, as he's out there in the middle of the night, he starts scouting out the landscape. The moon's up, kind of casting light on for him. Excuse me. And he's trying to pick the perfect location for his mission. Which he ultimately does. Now, it's about -40 outside.
Dang, he's got some serious coveralls. Maybe 3 pairs, I hope.
Probably wearing lots and lots of clothes. But again,
Steel toe boots and wool socks.
I don't know if steel toe boots would be the best in -40.
No, but he's a farmer.
Well, that's true.
They're not going to be the warmest, but he's a farmer.
He definitely has boots. And lots of clothes on. But for him, I mean, yes, it's super cold, but this is all he knows, right? Like, it's wintertime in Finland. Like, which is the same as it is every year.
And it's -40 Celsius.
Well, it is, but -40 Celsius and -40 Fahrenheit are about the same.
Which is absurd.
Yeah.
Just got to watch that skit by Nate Bargatze all the time. Just makes me so happy.
So he finds a perfect area. So he gets to work and he starts digging a hole in the snow. And the area he picked was in a clearing, free of any trees, on the downslope of a mountain face that's facing east.
Okay.
He's purposely picked a spot with no trees around him. He's between groves of trees. So he's just out in the open. And he starts digging his hole. And he digs for a couple hours.
Wouldn't the ground be frozen?
I'm sure the ground's very frozen. But the snow on top, I mean, there's some layer of snow there that's not
So he's digging a
frozen.
hole in the snow.
Yeah, not into the ground.
Okay.
Yeah, in the snow. And after a couple hours, he lies down in the hole he's made. It's not a grave. He's not just burying himself a grave. And then he buries himself in snow. So he pulls it all down around him. And then he just lays there. And he lets the fresh falling snow cover him up. Now,
How does he breathe?
well, he's got a little hole.
Okay.
Now, what do you think his mission is? Why is he out there all by himself?
Obviously to watch the enemy, to take them out somehow, to figure out their plans, to
Maybe a scout.
maybe he's a sniper. Maybe
Maybe
he's
he's a
got a
sniper.
really cool gun.
So, He is a sniper.
I figured as much.
Yeah. So he's prepping himself. He's putting in the work, getting there early before enemies show up.
Dang.
Now, he's picked this spot for a couple reasons.
Mm-hmm.
For one, with the Finnish sun being so low and short in the wintertime, there's only a few hours of daylight. And so, with him being on a east-facing mountain, as soon as the sun starts setting in the west, the sun's going to cast a shadow over the face of the mountain that he's on. So it'll make it darker, so harder to see him. So that's reason one. Reason two, once he completes his mission, if he gets a chance to, if there's anyone looking for him, they have to do it looking at the sun. So he'll be in a shadow and they're looking directly into the sun while trying to find him.
Okay.
And three, there's a small valley to his side that provides ample cover for him to escape back into friendly territory.
Okay.
So, like we said, he's a sniper.
But I thought he was a farmer.
He is a farmer.
He's a farmer sniper?
He's a sniper now.
Oh.
Because, let's talk about that a little bit. So, he's a farmer. He grew up in Finland's farming.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying is lots of farmers, I believe, are probably good shots.
Yeah. So, as a kid growing up in Finland, he learned to hunt.
Makes sense.
He learned to hunt. He was very good at hunting foxes, which are notoriously, I guess, hard to hunt.
I would assume so. Unless you're snaring, if you're trying to
he would shoot them. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Then that's a big job.
And he started, he was a very, very good shot. They realized early. So he started entering contests. And he was like a literal shooting savant. Like his little house was just full of all of his trophies that he won from all of these shooting contests.
So was he a self-appointed sniper or was he a military sniper?
He was a military sniper.
Okay.
So, so he was a very, very good shot. Growing up, he won all these contests. And so in Finland, I don't know if this is still true or not, but back then, everyone had to serve 15 months in the army. And so when he turned 19, he joined the army. He did his military duty, and then went back to life on the farm. But when he was released from service, he was given the opportunity to buy his military rifle.
His sniper rifle?
Well, yes and no. It wasn't a sniper rifle. It was just a standard bolt-action rifle from the 1890s. They were like an old version, but they were super hardy. And they didn't freeze up in the cold. And so he just was buying it because it was like... He wasn't a sniper even in...
In the military?
Right. Like in his first...
He wasn't? Well, that's crazy. Did they not know about his skills?
I think he was actually, if I remember right, he was like a bicycle officer or something.
I feel like that was a
but
missed
they weren't at
opportunity.
war, right? Like,
I guess so. Yeah.
And so when he got out of the service, he had the opportunity to buy the rifle, and he was going back to the farms. He's like, sure, I'll buy my rifle and take it back. So he did that. So fast forward to 1939. So
how many years later?
I don't know how many years, but Simo's now 34.
Okay.
So 15-ish years.
Okay.
And the Soviets have invaded. And they invade in the winter of 1939. And remind me when we're done with our story to talk about the outcome of this war.
Okay.
So the Soviets invaded in 1939, and he is called back up to service.
After 15 years?
To defend his country. Now, this time he becomes a sniper. Now, I don't know who appointed him a sniper. Or,
he finally let them know, like, hey, just in case you're wondering, I'm, like, really good at shooting.
I can, like, shoot things.
So, like, instead of doing bicycles, I should probably do that.
Yeah. I don't know if we're going to have a bicycle fleet in this war. But if we do, I don't want to be on that.
I probably am qualified for different things.
Yeah. So
bicycle fleet would be cute.
Yeah. Super cute. Probably not super effective.
Nope.
But super cute. So when he goes back into the army and he's going now to defend his country, he takes his old 1890s rifle with him. And he does not want a new gun. He specifically doesn't want a sniper rifle with a scope.
Why?
Well, that's a good question. Because all snipers pretty much use scopes.
Isn't the scope the helpful part?
Yeah, because it lets you zoom in on your target, right?
That's what I thought.
So he had 3 reasons why he didn't like a scope.
Okay.
Reason 1. Well, what? Let's play guess the reasons. Can you think of any reason why he wouldn't want a scope?
Well, I mean, I guess maybe the main reason is probably because it's something that he wouldn't have been used to. Like,
that's a good thought.
You know, you kind of just get used to something and you think, I'm good at it this way. I don't want to try to learn something new.
Yeah. If you're like, I've played basketball in these old high top Converse forever. Now they're going to feel clunky if I put on big shoes
or just stiff or something.
Right.
Yeah. Like maybe.
That makes sense.
I don't know.
That's a good reason.
Maybe he was worried that like the equipment would malfunction and he would rely too much on like a scope as opposed to like his own other techniques. I have no idea about it.
Yeah, those are good thoughts. The first one wasn't really one of them, but the second answer kind of was one of his reasons. Excuse me. So the first reason he didn't like him was mostly because they were made of glass, right? Okay. And so the sun could reflect off of them, giving off your location. And according to him, most snipers got killed because of that reason.
That makes sense.
Other snipers would find them
and then shoot them into their scope.
Pretty much. And so he was afraid, or not afraid, but he thought, this is going to potentially give away locations.
Right. So
he didn't want that. Number 2, this is Finland in the wintertime. Sometimes your scope would fog up. Mm-hmm. And then you're useless, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you're in Vietnam or something, that's not a problem. But
right. That makes sense because, those that wear glasses, you definitely know the transition of temperatures. They fog up.
Right. But the real reason he didn't want a scope was because you had to lift your head just ever so higher to look through the scope.
Oh, and he doesn't like looking higher?
Well, that exposes like 1.5 inches, 2 more inches of your skull to get shot at.
Oh gosh, this guy's like serious.
He's very serious.
Okay.
And he didn't want to do that either.
Okay.
So he preferred to use his old 1890s bolt action rifle.
Yeah. That
just had the iron crosshairs on it. Like, you ever shot a BB gun?
Yeah.
And they just have the little back where your eye is, there's like the 2, and then at the end is the 1, and you line them up.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what he had on his rifle.
Okay.
A little bit bigger version of that, but
okay.
It was just an iron crosshair.
Okay.
Or an iron sight. So now let's fast forward back to him in his pile.
Back in him and it's his hole.
His hole.
His hole.
The snow has fallen. It's covered him up. He's got his little hole that he's looking out of.
How does he pee?
He probably doesn't. Or if he does, he just pees. Because he ain't moving.
Does he have a little catheter or something? That's legit.
He most definitely does not have a catheter.
It just freeze. He's like sitting there with his frozen urine bag.
Yeah. I can't even imagine. With the little tube, if that froze.
Oof. Dang.
Yeah. No catheter.
Hey, I like my ideas, okay?
I like your ideas sometimes, too.
Seriously, it's worse to just let it freeze in your pants.
Yeah, my guess is he doesn't pee.
Okay. We're all human. We all pee.
Well, not while he's hiding in his little hole he's made.
Well, how long is he in his hole?
A long time. We'll get there.
100% he pees.
Well, then he just pees. He's not getting out of his hole. And he probably doesn't have a catheter.
I know he doesn't have a catheter. Obviously, that was a joke.
So, but you couldn't really pee because then you'd freeze.
That's what I'm saying. But you still have to pee.
I assume like the day before you go on your mission, you just don't drink any water.
Okay, this sounds terrible.
But you're defending your country,
Not only do you have to shoot things from far away, you have to not pee.
And sit in the -40 for hours.
Yeah.
waiting for someone to possibly come by.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yuck.
You would not be a good Finnish sniper.
I would not be good any sniper.
You know who else wouldn't be a good Finnish sniper? Me. So don't feel bad.
I don't feel bad.
You looked like you felt a little bad.
No feeling
You
bad.
can see it in your eyes. You're like,
Okay.
oh, I wanted to be a minus 40 sniper.
I don't.
Anywho, fast forward to Simo, hiding in his hole of snow. Sun comes up.
But
The day progresses. He sits. He waits. Not moving. Sitting. Waiting. Waiting.
we're gonna get to the point to
Sitting.
where like the enemy like literally walks on top of him.
I've watched some. Lincoln must watch airsoft like wars on YouTube because they pop up on my YouTube. And there's these guys that are amazingly camouflaged. And every once in a while, like the other team will do that exact thing. Like stand on top of their pile of like leaves and branches. And
They don't even know that they're there. That
literally,
is
there's some videos
crazy.
of a guy sniping people while one of the opponents is like standing 5 feet.
And he has no idea.
No idea.
Wow. That's legit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the airsoft community gets recruited into the real military.
Or the other way around. These guys don't know anything else to do with their lives once they get out of the military.
They're like, we're going to just do airsoft our whole lives.
Yeah. Well, these guys on these videos, you can tell are like...
Oh, yeah. Trained. Well trained.
I watched this one guy. He gave up his location after... I mean, he sniped like 70 guys. Just picking them off over and over and over. But then he needed to go like... It was like a capture the flag thing. And he just jumped up with his pistols and ran through like these trenches and took out, I'm not joking, like 14 guys. Just, it was amazing. It was like watching a video game.
Wow. It was real hype.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, just sneaking up on him.
Did he get the flag?
Yep.
Good job.
It's like, whoa.
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 I want to be that guy. Maybe it was Simo.
Maybe. But, I mean, Simo, in 1939, he was in his 30s.
He's probably
Not Simo.
It's probably not Simo.
Probably not. So, as the day progresses and he's sitting there waiting, eventually he notices.
Movement.
Yep. Here comes a band of Soviet soldiers
Nice.
walking across the valley in front of him. Or the clearing or whatever it is. And so...
I feel like you're getting worse.
yeah, the talking's not the best thing for it. But that's okay.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt or anything.
It just sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good sound.
Definitely.
It's good radio voice. So the Soviet Union stand out because, one, they're in bright green uniforms. And they have no snowshoes. So they're moving very slowly.
Very slowly. Gotcha. Okay.
And standing out very brightly
Against the white snow.
against the white snow. And they're barely moving. Now, one thing Simo does is he packs either a bunch of snow or water on his gun barrel, almost to like freeze it, so that when he does fire, smoke doesn't come off of it, like the temperature change.
This guy is legit.
Yeah, he is legit.
Oof. He's thought of it all.
He's Simo Hayha.
Yeah, I like that name.
Yeah. Now, most of these guys, these Soviet soldiers, are conscripted soldiers. They're not lifetime military men.
Yeah,
they're
they
just
don't really
farmers
know.
and stuff that
Yeah.
have been... Because you have to remember, Stalin pretty much purged out all military leadership. That way no one could, overtake him or try to take his power. So they had very little leadership to begin with. And Russia's main tactic usually is just throw body after body after body after body.
Which
And
is
just let them get mowed down.
so sad.
And just pure numbers, right?
I guess
That's
so.
how they've fought all their battles.
Sad.
And so that's what they did here too. So most of these guys are just farmers. They're just guys who've been pulled off, drafted, and sent off to the front lines.
They don't want to be there either.
They don't have the equipment. They don't. You're right, and they don't have.
Right.
They don't want to be there either.
They just have to be.
But they have to be. And Simo can tell right away, like, okay, there's no radio operator with them. There's no I can't tell anyone who's in charge.
Right.
They don't have any proper gear. They don't have proper clothing. Like, these aren't professional soldiers. But like you said, they don't want to be here. Simo doesn't want to kill him, but it's his job. They're invading his country. He's got to stop them. So he starts making a kill order in his head. Okay, who am I going to take out first, second, third? How am I going to do this? And so it's actually interesting. He later writes a memoir of his time in the war, and all of his kills. And he doesn't call them kills. He calls his book of sins. Like, he really doesn't want to be.
Of course not.
Like, he has no ill will towards any of these men. He knows perfectly well that they're not the ones making these decisions.
Right. That's what's so hard about this whole thing.
He takes no pleasure in killing them. And he's very hard on himself to make sure that he gets clean kills.
So they don't suffer.
Yep.
Yeah. Gosh.
But even then, I mean, he kind of just has to, like, choke down the guilt and deal with it later, because he's got a job to do.
For sure.
And so he takes a slow, deep breath. He gets his order, and he fires his first shot. Hits the guy just below the throat, kills him instantly.
Jeez.
Now, as soon as that happens, it's mayhem, right? Mayhem. It's like chickens or cockroaches when you flip on a light. Like,
they just scatter.
Everyone's scurrying in all directions. No, obviously they have no idea where the shot came from.
Right.
And they're not trained soldiers, so they don't know how to
even detect or...
Right. I mean, yeah. So they're just running. So Simo prepares his gun. Now there's a troop running that he decides this is his next shot, but he wants to time it just right so that the soldier's foot is planted when the bullet hits him. That way his momentum is not moving in one direction. Because if he hits him while he's mid-step, then it's going to push his body the way he's running, and they'll be able to tell where the shot came from. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like, which direction.
It's serious timing.
Yeah. So he's a little off here, and he hits the guy not when he wants to. He kills him instantly, but...
They can kind of have a general idea.
Right. You'd be able to tell where the shot came from. Luckily, none of these guys have any clue about any of that kind of stuff.
Right.
And again, his thoughts are kind of confirmed. Like, oh, these guys... If this was a real, like, battalion or whatever, troop of soldiers... They
would know.
I'd be in trouble right now. But these guys have no clue. But some are hiding, some are running, some are just firing off in all directions. But he's not at all concerned. He's not at all worried. They can't see him. He's not worried about getting hit. And so, so now he's killed 2 men. So he gently brushes any snow off the barrel of his gun so that it can't puff up when he fires. Does that make sense? And then he slowly takes snow and puts it in his mouth. And this whole time while he's doing this, he chews on snow so that when he breathes out, it doesn't condense.
So he has give steam from your... Okay. This guy is next level.
He knows what he's doing, man.
It's next level.
Next level. So, after those 2 things, he fires 2 more shots. 1 guy in the head, 1 guy in the chest, both dead. So he's killed 4 men now. 3 soldiers take off running back towards where they had come from. Now, he can't let them leave because...
They'll go tell somebody.
They'll go tell. Even if they don't know where he is. Right. They know, okay, somewhere over here is a sniper. And so he picks off all 3 of them running. I mean, probably takes a few.
Sure.
It's not like instantaneously, but kills all 3 of them. So now he repositions or refocuses his sights on all of those who are hiding. And he begins picking them off one by one, waiting 30 seconds between each shot so they can't figure out where they're coming from. So fire, kill someone, and count to himself 30 seconds. Ready his next shot. Fire. Kill someone.
How much ammo do these old things have, though? Like,
Well,
it
he's
just like
brought-
a chain?
No.
Or he has to re...
Well, he does have to manually...
But wouldn't they hear that? Or
yeah.
you just do it so fast that it's...
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Okay.
And I don't know what else is in the commotion of men running around.
Yeah.
These are great questions.
Okay.
I do believe it is it's a bolt action rifle. So yeah, you're going to have to
Load it every time, right?
now it probably has a magazine that holds X many.
Sure.
So you don't have to manually reload the shot every time. But you're going to have to pull the bolt action, eject the cartridge.
Right.
Well, it might automatically eject the cartridge. But anyways, I don't know.
Okay.
1890. I'm not a gun expert.
You should be.
I should be, but I'm not.
You should be.
I'm not really an expert at anything.
It's not true.
So he's picking off one by one. Ultimately, at this point, he's killed 11 guys. And after this whole ordeal has taken about 15 minutes. Now there's one soldier left. He's hiding behind a big rock. Now Simo's got some decisions to make. He can either wait him out, but if the sun sets and he lets the guy leave, then he could go back and get artillery or something to come in. Mm-hmm. So he decides that he's not going to let him wait it out. So war's just vicious, right? Like,
I just hate it.
So he fires a shot at the top of the rock. It breaks the rock and it sends like sharp shrapnel into the guy's face and stuff, you know? Ugh. So he kind of goes, like and lifts his head up for a second, just enough, pulls another shot. Now he hits him, but it's not a clean kill.
Oh no.
So the guy drops behind the rock and he can see him convulsing. But he doesn't have, all he can see is a hand and a leg. Like he has no clean shot to kill him. So he can't do anything but let him. And he says it takes about a minute and a half for him to eventually stop convulsing.
I wouldn't watch the whole time. Like if it was me, I know he's watching. I could not. I'd be like, I know that this wasn't a clean shot. I feel terrible. I don't want to do any of this.
Yeah. I mean, 11 to 12 clean shots, pretty good.
No, I mean, I'm not negating any of the other shots. I'm just saying it's just terrible. The whole thing is
but he thinks it's terrible too.
Of course he does.
But I'm sure lots of soldiers don't feel that way.
I don't know. I really don't know. I can't answer that. I would like to think that for many, it is that way. They would want to, even though they don't want to do it, they would want to, at least if they feel like they have to, do it the best, the nicest. Like, you even want to do that as a hunter, out of respect for the animal you're hunting, right? Like, you want to do the best job you can so they don't suffer. I would hope that most are like that.
I would hope so too.
But anyway, that's just me.
Now they're all gone.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more troops. But Simo can't shake the feeling that something's not right. Like, he hasn't moved. He hasn't, given up his position. He hasn't done anything.
Maybe another one scrambled over towards him.
Well, he just feels like this was too easy. They didn't have a leader. They didn't have a radio. Like, what were they doing? Like, something's just not right. So he starts thinking, could it possibly be that they sacrificed all these men
to see how good he was?
And there's counter snipers out there just waiting for him
to move. Oh my god.
After he's done his job. Now, he doesn't know this.
But he just feels
like there's just something wrong with
the whole thing.
With this whole thing, yeah. He senses a trap. Like,
yeah. It does seem suspicious.
Why would the Russians try to set up a trap for him? Like,
well, obviously a very smart, skilled sniper is definitely like someone you would want to try to seek out and get, because I don't know, but back in the day, there's probably not that many that are quite that skilled or have this natural ability. And they would want to try to find him
Yeah.
or capture him and use him for themselves.
Possibly.
I mean, that's probably all war, but
So Simo had become kind of a legend. He had a name spreading throughout the newspapers. He was known as the White Death.
ooh, the White Death. Why?
Well, at this point in the war, he already almost had 200 confirmed kills.
Holy smokes.
And the Russians were getting very, 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 very sick of him.
Yeah, I bet.
He was like a wartime hero in Finland. There was a lot of propaganda about him. They talked about he had magic bullets that could, one shot would blow up a tank and, all.
Right, of course. All this stuff.
They were
that's not
using
really-
him as this amazing, emotional,
Right.
what's the word I'm looking for?
Motivator.
Yeah, like,
Spirit
to
booster.
bring spirit and boost morale and all that kind of stuff. And the Russians wouldn't report on him at all. Like, there's a sniper out there
Yeah.
called the White Death. So originally it was thought that the Russians named him the White Death. It's been confirmed that it was actually a propaganda piece by Finland.
But still, why the White Death? Because he's doing
he
this in
wore-
the winter?
Yeah, and he wore all white. I mean, his
Oh.
clothing was all white,
Oh, really? Oh,
so that he'd be camouflaged
in the snow.
in the snow.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he almost had 200 confirmed kills. And like I said, the Russians were just they had to get rid of him.
Yeah.
So most snipers move right after their kills
Right.
because they can't, if they stay, then they're going to give away their location and
Or
you get a tank shot at you or you get,
Right.
a
yeah.
counter sniper shooting at you.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, you do your job and then you get up and you get out of there.
Right.
So you can easily become easy targets for other snipers. But again, he's afraid like this was a setup. Like
Yeah.
there's
Someone out there watching
yep.
me. Mm-hmm.
And he's like, as soon as I move, I'm dead.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not, but I can't take that risk because I feel like it's a ploy. And so he's already been there since the middle of the night before.
Yeah.
It's got to be, I don't know. I mean, the sun's setting. So 2 to 4 in the afternoon. He's been sitting there already for hours, but he just doesn't move a muscle.
Wow.
Doesn't do anything. But he's starting to get hungry.
When he has to pee.
He might have to pee.
Not him. Not might. This
He
man
definitely
has
is
to
hungry.
pee. He's been eating snow.
So he has a couple sugar cubes in his pocket. Guess how long it takes him to reach down and retrieve one sugar cube?
For fear of
Mhm.
too much movement. 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Hey, you got it right.
I'm amazing.
Yeah. That's how slowly he moves
To get.
to get it out of his pocket and eat it
Dang.
to not be detected.
Dang. I mean,
Like
really?
the patience, man.
Well, just you're under the snow too. So, I mean, how much is really going to move? How much is really going to be?
But you can't afford anything. Like, what
Well-
if you move too much and the snow caves a little,
I have
know?
no
or-
idea.
And it'd be crazy because you don't actually know if anyone's out there watching you.
Right.
But at this point, you're probably like, okay, I'll just wait till nightfall.
Yeah.
And then-
I would assume so.
I'll get out of here.
Yeah.
So he eats his sugar, feels a little better. He waits another 3 hours.
Oof, dang.
Still doesn't move. Something still tells him there's someone out there. Now, as the sun sets in the west behind him, he's now entirely in the shadows
Okay.
on his slope. Again, where anyone looking at him is both looking at him, like they're staring at the sun,
Right.
but the sun's shining on them.
And he's in the shadows.
And he's in
Yeah.
the shadows. So he's scanning this whole time. Scanning. What do you think he sees?
Probably a couple snipers somewhere.
He sees a slight flicker off of a scope.
Dang.
So what does he do?
He shoots the guy right through the scope.
Takes aim, fires. He doesn't ever hear a scream, but he sees a pool of blood in the snow. So obviously, he killed him. What do you think he does now?
waits.
Doesn't move a muscle.
Poor guy.
Because now he knows.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there's one sniper, there's going to be another sniper.
There's at least going to be, yeah.
And so he's just waiting, scanning that horizon, looking for more.
I still don't understand how you couldn't hear where the gun is coming from.
Well, I assume it would just echo like crazy through that.
Yeah,
Through those mountains and through those valleys and stuff,
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, so, oh, jeez.
So he waits another hour.
Does he see another flicker from a scope?
He doesn't. Sun's just about to set.
Okay.
Just about dark.
Okay.
Never sees another sniper. But all of a sudden he hears the scream of our artillery shells come flying in.
Really?
You know.
Like they're just going to bomb the whole area.
Yep.
Because they know he's there somewhere.
So what they're waiting for, they wanted to snipe him.
Of course.
But they couldn't find him. So now he knows, well, there was at least one other sniper, and he knows the sun setting, and he knows roughly where I'm at. So
he thinks there's another sniper, and then they're calling in the artillery to scare him, so he gets up and runs, and then they shoot him. The sniper shoots him.
That's actually a good thought.
Oh.
What he thinks is the other sniper knows as soon as the sun comes down, they've lost him.
Right.
So the other sniper thinks he has a pretty rough idea of where he's at. And so he goes back and just tells the artillery, we're going to lose him. Just start blowing up these areas.
Oh.
He's got to be there or there or there. Like this is where I would be if I were him.
Mm-hmm.
So just start blowing those areas up. So now they're just sending in all this.
So he's not planning on still shooting once he moves. Like the sniper's not.
Not at this point.
Not at this point.
I mean, at first I'm sure he wanted to counter sniper. But now he knows I'm out of time. Okay, guys, just start bombing the crap out of, well, not bomb, but shelling the crap out of that slope over there. And so he's hiding. Trees are just exploding on these groves all around him. I mean, just artillery shells are falling. Howitzers, those kind of, big cannons, your favorites, are just firing shots. But remember, go back and think about why he chose what he chose.
Yeah, I can't remember all the details.
He purposely didn't go into the trees because he knew if there was ever a counter sniper, they would be looking for him in the cover of the trees.
And why would they be looking for him?
Because that's where a sniper would go, is where they have cover. They can get up in the tree. They can do their thing. He specifically went in the middle of nowhere and built his thing right on because no one's looking for him right in the open, in the middle of this
field or clearing.
In this, mountain face.
Right.
That's in the shadows.
So they're bombing the wrong place.
So they're bombing all these trees, assuming he's somewhere in the trees.
Right.
And he's in between all the trees, but he's not in any of the trees or those areas.
Right.
Like he's not in any of the places that he could take cover, but those are the places they assume he is.
Right. Smart guy.
Smart guy.
This guy's White Death.
White Death. So they're just like bombing the crap out of it. But excuse me. But he knows he can't get up and run.
No.
Because as soon as he gets up and run, he's dead.
Yeah.
So he's just got to wait out.
And just pray that
they don't.
Even a tree doesn't land on him or like from the.
Yep. Tree, flying shrapnel.
Yeah.
Artillery shells back in the, this is, World War II-ish time are notoriously not super accurate. So even if they're shooting at the trees, they can still land on him, but there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You just got to wait it out.
Ooh, dang.
But the nice thing about it is there's this dense, thick, like fog of all the snow being blown into the air. So they're creating cover for him if he can ever get a clearing to go, because they're just blowing so much snow and crap into the air, right? And so he sits there. It's dark, and there's just destruction everywhere around him, right? But finally, there's about 15 minutes of silence. There's no more artillery shells. The sun's now gone down, and he assumes they're done. At this point, it's either they got him or they didn't get him. Like, they don't know, but they can't see anymore.
So they're hoping.
They're hoping they got him, and he's hoping that he can get out of there without getting shot or blown up.
Yeah.
So he again, there's still like this dense fog with all this fine snow in the air. So he gets up in the darkness, slips out. Now, he purposely hasn't. He's made his escape route not, again, where people would think it would typically would be.
Okay.
So he cuts right across kind of the middle of this mountain face into this ravine and out. Back towards finish lines. And he does, walks all night, but he gets back into friendly territory, back to camp.
And goes pee.
Probably goes pee, gets a hot bowl of soup. His commander tells him, "I'm glad you didn't die." He says, "Me too." And he reports his kills. And just another day.
On the job.
Dang. Defending his country. So Simo continued to do this sort of work. Multiple times he logged days of 25 or more kills, which is pretty insane.
It's insane.
And he actually, to this day, is the most the deadliest sniper of all time.
Really?
So he has over 500 kills.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yuck.
To his name.
The PTSD for that guy.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a lot. So it was the last week of the war. Now, this war is called the Winter War. Soviets invaded the winter of 1939, and the war was over by spring. They did not do very well. Yeah.
Okay.
And so it wasn't a long war. The Finnish had very few people, but way better equipped, way better fortified and hunkered in, and defensively were able to repel the Soviets very well. Last week of the war, literally the last week, Simo is in one of his spots doing his thing, and a counter sniper finds him. Oh, no. And shoots at him with an exploding bullet. I don't really know an exploding bullet. I guess when it hits, it just not like literally explodes like a bomb, but I would assume it like shrapnel kind of,
like a bunch of little pieces.
Hits him in the face.
Ooh.
Everyone assumes he's dead. He's pulled out of his spot and thrown into maybe not thrown, but put into a pile of dead bodies with all the other dead soldiers.
Wait, by our...
Right, like after the...
But I mean by friendly people?
Yes, by friendly people.
Okay.
So, I assume the Soviets, attacked. There's a battle. They were repelled. And then the Finnish soldiers, collected all their dead and wounded.
Mm-hmm.
Simo was shot in the face. Literally his left jaw blown off completely.
Jeez.
Yeah. So everyone assumes he's dead. Put him in a pile. By chance, a soldier's walking by and sees a foot moving in this pile.
Mm.
Pulls the body out. Simo. They rush him, to hospital or whatever. Undergoes months and months and months of surgery, but survives.
Wow.
Yeah. And so,
how does he function? Like, how do they put like bovine jaw in, or what? How I wonder.
Well, let's get to that in a second.
Okay.
So, rumors spread super fast
that he's dead.
That he was dead, both in Finland and in the Soviet Union.
So they're like, we've got it.
So he regains consciousness a week later, on March 13th, which is the same day that peace was declared. So he literally wakes up
on the
day that it's over.
Wow.
He reads about his own death in the newspaper.
That's wild.
And so he sends a letter to the paper to correct the story.
I would just let people assume I'm dead, actually.
So yeah, in just a few months. And that's the crazy thing about this war. It only lasted a couple months, but killed more than 500 Russian soldiers, making him the deadliest sniper of all time.
Wow.
He did write a memoir about his experience, and he kept it hidden. It actually wasn't found until 2017.
His memoir?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
And then published.
I wonder Why?
I think it was probably just his own therapy.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like this is his book of sins.
Yeah, to work through.
And that's where the story comes from. I mean, it's all of his accounts of.
Wow. That poor guy. I mean, just all of it. Again, the duty that you're made to do and you need to do, but at the same time, like, you don't want to be doing.
Yeah.
And then the recovery and the, like, having to, figure out how to do life with a missing jaw, but also sticking it to him like, well, I actually did live kind of thing. It probably makes his story even cooler.
Yeah. So they never reconstructed his jaw. So there's lots of pictures of him out there. You can look him up. So, I mean, he's just got a very droopy, you can tell there's no bone on that left side of his face.
But, like, I mean, how does that?
I assume
like, how does he chew? How does he do life?
Sorry, probably all on the right side, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure his speech was affected forever,
sure.
But he lived till he was 96.
Wow.
The town that he grew up farming in was right on the border, and I don't think that I think he became part of the Soviet Union after this war.
Oh, it did.
So he had to relocate. But, just went back to farming.
Wow.
Farmed for the rest of his life.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's too bad that he couldn't keep his own farm like his.
So he never bragged about his sniper skills, never talked about his sniper skills.
Did they know who he really was?
I'm sure people did, but you would assume after 10, 15, 20 years, younger generations don't, know as much.
But I mean, is it almost like his real name was anonymous and it was just the White Death? And so
no. People knew who he was.
Okay.
And there was one point in life, I don't know what, when, it wasn't much later. There was some other, it might have been World War II, some other part of World War II that, sorry, my phone keeps going off. Where he re-volunteered to go fight again. But
with his jaw missing?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh.
But the Finnish government wouldn't let him.
Because his jaw was missing?
Yeah, he'd done his service. He was decorated, like, he was older.
Yeah. I wonder if his eyesight would have been as good.
Yeah, well, that's the craziest thing. To be the deadliest sniper of all time using a 40-year-old gun with no scope, with no...
Right. That's legit. It's like tough guy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And pre-planning like all of those things and having the patience and the...
And knowing about the, like...
But these are only things probably from growing up there and hunting and, like...
Yeah. True. I mean, I guess part of me is like... To have the forethought to think about like, oh, being in a clearing, like where people would assume you wouldn't be, and your escape route this way, and the sugar cubes thing. I mean, maybe that's a normal trick? I don't know, but just to keep your blood sugar up, and to have go in with your gut. I say that a lot. Go with your gut. Just know like this is something's suspicious about this. Like, I mean, to have the fortitude to stay still when things are getting bombed all around you. I mean, it's impressive. I mean, he deserves to be decorated for sure. And
part of that would kind of be easier, not literally, but it's like the choice has been made for you.
What do you mean?
So like we played that dice game Bank this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there would come a point where I was down by so many points, like you had to risk it big or you would never win, right?
That's what you tell yourself.
And so it's like, well, at this point, I can't get up and run with the artillery shells blowing around me. All I can do is stay and just hope and pray that
that it doesn't hit you.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no decision to be made. Like,
I still think that's a decision because part of when you're scared and this instinct to run and protect yourself is just going to happen, or at least flinch enough that someone's going to find you. But to just tough it out where there's bombs around you, I mean, that is, oof. That's cool.
That's cool.
So
when you're the deadliest sniper of all time.
yeah. Did you think about this topic because of the sniper movies we've been watching lately?
Well, I really thought about it because last episode you guessed we were talking about snipers.
Oh.
And I was like, actually, I have a cool sniper story.
Oh.
So we'll just go ahead and do that one.
Well, perfect.
Yeah.
Was this the one you were thinking of?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So what'd you guess today? You guessed magnet fishing. So next episode will be on magnet fishing.
I'm starting to see a trend, so now I know what to guess.
But only if you can go back in time. Because next week, if you guess magnet fishing, then you throw it all off.
Why?
Because you have nothing to guess for the week before. Or the next week.
That's true. Or I don't give you inspiration for your next script.
Right.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, everybody, have a wonderful week. Have a better week than me.
I hope you can talk by next time.
I feel wonderful.
You don't sound wonderful at all.
But I feel fine.
Well, that's good.
I just can't talk, I guess.
So
maybe it's good for you.
No.
So, all right. Well, have a wonderful week. And we'll be back next time with another episode of something crazy and strange.
On magnet fishing.
On magnet fishing. Probably not, but we'll see. All right. Bye.
Bye.